Welcome to CyberXplain channel. Today we are going to discuss mastering digital access, least privilege and segregation of duties. Hey everyone, and welcome to another chill session on identity and access management. Grab your favorite drink, because today we are tackling two superpowers in the world of digital security, the principle of least privilege and segregation of duties. Ever wondered how companies decide who gets to see what, or why your boss can't approve their own expense reports? We are going to demystify all that in plain, everyday language, just like we are chatting over coffee. These concepts might sound a bit techy, but trust me, they're super logical and crucial for keeping things safe online. So, let's dive in and make some sense of it all. Before we get into the fancy terms, let's think about why access control is even a thing. Imagine a big, bustling office building. Not everyone gets a master key to every single room, right? The CEO has certain access, the janitor has different access, and the intern probably only gets into their specific workspace. It's the same online. In our digital workplaces, we have tons of sensitive files, customer data, and important applications. If everyone could access everything, it would be chaos and incredibly risky. That's why we need smart ways to manage who gets access to what resources. Alright, let's start with our first big idea, the principle of least privilege, or PoLP for short. Think of it like this: if you are going to borrow a friend's car, they'll probably give you the car key, not their entire house key ring, right? You only get the key you need for the task at hand, driving the car. PoLP is the same concept in the digital world. It means giving someone, or something, only the absolute minimum access rights needed to do their job, and nothing more. No extra keys, no unnecessary permissions. Simple, right? So, why is this least privilege idea such a big deal? Imagine if your friend accidentally gave you their master house key along with the car key. What if you lost that entire ring? Now someone could get into their house. The same applies digitally. If an employee has access to financial records, HR data, and customer information, but only needs the financial records for their job, they're overprivileged. If their account gets hacked, the bad guys now have access to all that data, not just what the employee actually needed. PoLP drastically shrinks the potential damage if something goes wrong. It's like building firewalls around every single piece of data. Let's make this concrete. Say you are a content creator at a company. You probably need access to your editing software, the company's asset library, and perhaps a shared drive for collaboration. But do you need access to the servers, or the HR database, or the CEO's private files? Probably not. Under PoLP, your access would be carefully tailored to only what you need to create awesome content. If your role changes, your access should change too, getting updated to match your new responsibilities. It's a dynamic, not a static, thing. It's not just people who need privileges. Our digital workers like applications, services, and automated scripts need them too. Imagine a little robot that's only supposed to update your customers' shipping addresses. Under PoLP, that robot only gets permission to read and write shipping addresses, nothing else. It can't delete customer accounts or access payment info. This is super important because these automated systems often run in the background, and if they're compromised, an attacker could exploit their excessive privileges. So, we treat them like employees, giving them just enough to do their automation job. In the real world, especially with cloud platforms like AWS, GCP, or Entra ID, you'd manage these privileges using policies. Let's briefly picture an AWS IAM console. You'd define an IAM policy that specifies exactly what actions a user or service can take, and on which resources. This policy then gets attached to an IAM role or user, granting those precise permissions. It's all about explicit allow statements for specific actions on specific resources, and everything else is implicitly denied. This granular control is what PoLP is all about, making sure there are no accidental backdoor keys lying around. What happens when we don't follow PoLP? Well, that's where things get scary. Think about breaches where attackers gain access through one weak point, then use that access to roam freely across the entire network. This is often because the initial compromised account had way too many privileges. One famous incident pattern is ransomware attacks where a single compromised account can encrypt vast amounts of data across an entire organization because it had admin rights everywhere. It makes a small crack into a gaping hole, allowing attackers to access systems and data they never should have touched. So, how do we spot these too many keys situations? It's tricky but doable. We can use special tools that analyze all the permissions granted across our systems and compare them against actual usage patterns. If someone has delete all customer data permission but never uses it, that's a red flag. We also do regular access reviews, where managers confirm if their team members still need all the access they have. Think of it like a periodic inventory of all your digital keys, making sure no one is holding on to spares they don't need anymore. Automated scans can also highlight risky privilege combinations. The best way to fix overprivilege is to be proactive. First, design roles with PoLP in mind from the start, so new employees only get what they need. Second, implement just-in-time (JIT) access, where high-level privileges are granted only for a short period when absolutely required, and then automatically revoked. Think of it like a temporary key that expires after an hour. Third, regular cleanup. Whenever someone changes roles or leaves, ensure their old access is immediately removed. It's about maintaining a lean and mean access posture, always questioning if access is truly essential. This also includes breaking up monolithic roles into smaller, more specific ones. Now, let's switch gears to our second big concept, segregation of duties, or SOD. If PoLP is about giving people the fewest keys, SOD is about making sure no single person has *all* the keys to *critical parts of a process. Imagine your personal bank account. You probably can't be the person who writes the checks and the person who approves them, right? Someone else, the bank, or your spouse, has to sign off. SOD applies this logic to business operations, especially where money or sensitive data is involved. It divides up critical tasks so no one person can complete a high-risk operation on their own. SOD is primarily your defense against fraud and error. If one employee has the power to create a fake invoice and approve its payment, guess what? They could easily pay themselves without anyone noticing. This is a classic fraud pattern. By splitting those two tasks, say, one person creates invoices and another person approves them, you create a built-in check and balance. It makes it much harder for someone to commit fraud undetected, because it would require collusion between two or more people. It's like having two keys for a safe, and each key is held by a different person. You need both to open it. The most common place you'll see SOD is in financial operations. Think about processing payments, handling payroll, or managing purchase orders. These are areas where money flows, and thus, where the risk of fraud is highest. A strong SOD policy might dictate that the person who initiates a payment request cannot be the same person who authorizes it. Or, the person who records inventory cannot also be the person who writes off damaged goods. This separation minimizes the chance of a single individual manipulating the system for personal gain or simply making a significant, costly error that goes unchecked. Let's walk through a classic example. Imagine Sarah, an employee at Widget Corp, is responsible for ordering office supplies. Her job includes creating purchase orders, POS, when supplies run low. Normally, someone else, let's say her manager, David, would review and approve these POS before they go to the vendor. This is a good example of SOD in action. Sarah creates, David approves. Simple and secure. But what if David is on vacation, and Sarah's boss gives her temporary approval rights so things don't get held up? Or worse, what if the system was never set up correctly in the first place, and Sarah always had both powers? Okay, so Sarah now has both the ability to create purchase orders and approve them. She realizes this loophole. She starts creating fake purchase orders for consulting services from a phantom company she secretly owns. She then approves these orders herself, and the company's accounting system processes the payments. Because no second pair of eyes reviewed the approval, the fraudulent payments go through month after month. The vendor, her fake company, gets paid, and Sarah pockets the money. Without SOD, the system silently facilitates the fraud, leaving no immediate red flags for detection. The fallout for Widget Corp can be devastating. First, there's the direct financial loss from all those fraudulent payments, which could amount to thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then there's the reputational damage if the fraud becomes public, eroding trust with customers and investors. Internally, employee morale can plummet, and management might face questions about their oversight. It's not just about losing money, it's about the entire organization taking a hit, highlighting why robust internal controls like SOD are non-negotiable for business health. This incident can also trigger regulatory fines if proper controls were mandated. So, how do we prevent this? By baking SOD directly into our access management systems. Instead of just giving access to POS, we define granular roles like PO_creator and PO_approver. These roles would have distinct permissions. A user assigned the PO_creator role couldn't possibly approve a PO, and vice versa. Modern IAM solutions, like those from cloud providers, allow you to create these roles and assign specific permissions, ensuring that the critical step-by-step processes of a business are explicitly separated by different user roles. It's a digital fence between conflicting duties. SOD isn't just about direct access to systems, it's also crucial for auditing and accountability. Consider log management. We need logs to record who did what, when, and where. But what if the person responsible for managing, and potentially altering or deleting, those logs is also the person whose actions are being logged? That's a huge SOD conflict. A robust system ensures that the person who *generates the logs cannot be the same person who *reviews or *modifies the logs. This way, we can trust but verify everything, knowing our audit trails are protected from tampering. To really make SOD work, you need two things: clear policies and strong technical controls. First, formal policies define exactly which duties are considered conflicting and must be separated. Everyone needs to understand these rules. Second, your IAM system needs to be configured to *enforce these policies. This means setting up roles with specific, limited permissions and ensuring that the system actively prevents users from being assigned conflicting roles simultaneously. Automated tools can even scan for potential SOD violations before they happen by analyzing proposed role assignments. It's about building a digital referee into your access system. Even with policies and controls, it's vital to have an early warning system for SOD violations. This involves continuous monitoring of user role assignments and changes. If Sarah somehow manages to get both PO_creator and PO_approver roles, the system should immediately flag this as a conflict. Specialized governance, risk, and compliance (GRC) software often includes modules for SOD analysis, helping organizations identify these toxic combinations of access rights. Regular audits and reports that highlight users with conflicting privileges are also key. It's about catching these issues before they turn into full-blown incidents. One of the most effective ways to mitigate SOD risks is through strong role-based access control, or RBAC. Instead of giving individual permissions to every user, you create predefined roles like accountant, sales manager, IT admin that come with a specific set of privileges. Then, you assign users to these roles. The magic here is that you design these roles to inherently enforce SOD. For example, the payment initiator role and the payment approver role would be mutually exclusive. No single user could be assigned both. This simplifies management and hardwires SOD into your system's design. It's like having job descriptions for digital access. Beyond initial setup, consistent vigilance is vital. Regularly performing access reviews is crucial for SOD, just as it is for PoLP. Managers and application owners need to periodically review who has access to what and explicitly certify that those permissions are still appropriate and don't create any SOD conflicts. These reviews are a chance to catch any drift in permissions, perhaps due to temporary assignments that were never revoked, or system changes that inadvertently granted broader access. Think of it as a periodic checkup for your digital security, ensuring the rules are still being followed. Modern IAM systems can take SOD enforcement a step further with workflow automation. When a user requests new access, or when their role changes, an automated workflow can kick in. This workflow can automatically check if the requested access, combined with their existing privileges, would create an SOD conflict. If it does, the request can be automatically blocked or routed for special approval and review by a security officer. This prevents manual errors and ensures that SOD policies are consistently applied, making it much harder for conflicting privileges to slip through the cracks. It's like having a bouncer at the digital door, enforcing the rules 24/7. So, we've talked about PoLP and SOD separately, but they're actually two incredibly complementary principles. PoLP focuses on minimizing individual access to the bare essentials. SOD focuses on ensuring that no single individual can complete critical processes alone. Both aim to reduce risk and prevent misuse. Think of it, you apply PoLP to make sure your PO_creator can only create POS and nothing else. Then you apply SOD to make sure that PO_creator can't also be the PO_approver. See how they work together? They're like Batman and Robin for your digital security, tackling different angles of the same problem. When you combine PoLP and SOD, your security posture becomes incredibly strong. You are not just preventing people from having too much access in general, PoLP, you are also preventing them from having the wrong combinations of access that could lead to fraud or major errors, SOD. This synergy creates a layered defense, making it much harder for attackers to exploit a single weakness or for an insider to act maliciously undetected. It ensures that even if one control fails, another is likely to catch the problem, providing true defense in depth. This is what we mean by building robust, resilient systems. To wrap up our chat on these vital concepts, remember these key best practices. Always start with a deny-all mindset for access and only explicitly grant what's needed. Regularly review all access, especially for high-risk accounts and when roles change. Use automated tools to help you identify both overprivilege and SOD conflicts. Design your roles carefully, baking in both PoLP and SOD from the ground up. And critically, educate your teams. Everyone needs to understand why these principles are so important for keeping the company and their own data safe. It's a continuous journey, not a one-time setup. Identity and access management might seem like a huge topic, but understanding foundational principles like least privilege and segregation of duties is a massive leap forward. These aren't just IT rules, they are smart business practices that protect your organization from both accidental errors and malicious intent. By applying these concepts, you are not just securing data, you are building trust, ensuring compliance, and creating a more efficient, resilient digital environment. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep making our digital world a safer place for everyone. Thanks for joining me for this coffee chat. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the CyberXplain channel. See you on the next video.